There are moments in existence that happen only once, not because the universe is cruel or capricious, but because your consciousness is only prepared to receive them at a precise moment. What I'm about to share with you falls into that category of once-in-a-lifetime experiences. You can close this window, get distracted, let what I'm about to tell you pass you by. But if you do, this message will continue on its way and will probably never come back in the same way. If you feel that this is the exact moment to awaken your perception, subscribe to the channel. It's no coincidence that you're here, and you won't want to miss the truths we're about to reveal. This video has a deep connection with the legacy of Dr. Jacobo Greenberg, the Mexican scientist who mysteriously disappeared after challenging the limits of reality. Just like his theories about the lattice, this video aims to help you understand that your mind not only perceives the world, but also creates it. Let's hope we don't disappear before reaching the end of the video. There is an exact synchronicity between your inner world and what appears before your eyes. Nothing comes by chance, and if you are reading these lines now at this particular moment, it's because a part of you is ready to listen. When you complete this journey, your way of relating to time and opportunities will never be the same. I'm not promising you easy tricks or magic formulas. What I'm offering you is something much more valuable, a completely different way of understanding how your attention builds your reality. Let me tell you something that Jacobo Greenberg discovered many years ago in his laboratory. While he was working with volunteers in perception experiments, he observed a disturbing pattern. There were people who picked up signals that others didn't even notice. They heard hints that went unnoticed by the rest. They connected ideas that for most people simply didn't exist. At first, Greenberg thought it was all due to differences in intelligence, education, or training. But then he realized he was completely wrong. After thousands of measurements and analyses, Greenberg reached a radical conclusion. The difference was in the level of coherence of each person's neural field. Those individuals with greater brain synchronization could perceive layers of reality inaccessible to others. And here's the crucial part. That coherence was not something fixed or permanent. It varied according to the individual's state of consciousness. This has a devastating implication. Reality does not always show the same thing. It only reveals what your level of consciousness is prepared for at each moment. Greenberg used to explain an experiment that completely changed his approach. He had two volunteers hooked up to EEG monitors in different rooms. He asked one to go into deep meditation while the other remained at rest with their eyes closed. During the first 20 minutes, nothing remarkable happened. But then when the meditator reached a state of extraordinary coherence, something impossible happened. The second volunteer's brain began to synchronize with the first without knowing what was happening. Their brain waves began to mirror each other. There was no physical explanation for that. There was no material connection between them. And yet the information seemed to be transmitted from one consciousness to another by a means that no instrument could detect. Greenberg repeated this experiment dozens of times with multiple pairs of volunteers, and the result was always the same. When one consciousness reached a certain level of coherence, it could influence another nearby consciousness without any kind of physical mediation. Think about times when something important happened in front of you, but you didn't know what it was. That vague feeling of having missed an opportunity without understanding which one, that impression that someone was trying to tell you something, but the words faded into the noise. Those moments are not coincidences. They are evidence that there are layers of information floating around you that your consciousness simply isn't ready to grasp. Sometimes, to achieve that coherence Greenberg talked about, we need to surround ourselves with the right words. I recommend you try Audible. They have a 30-day free trial where you can immerse yourself in books that will expand your mind while you go about your daily activities. It's perfect for learning about quantum physics while pretending you're working. Your boss will think you're really focused, but in reality, you'll be hacking the matrix in audio form. Most people go through their entire existence trapped at the same level of perception, always observing the same patterns and interpreting the world through a repetitive and limited filter. And when something new finally appears, when a truly transformative message knocks on their door, they dismiss it because it doesn't fit with the mental map they've already established. What almost nobody knows is that Jacobo Greenberg's deepest research was not focused on the brain as a physical organ, but as an antenna capable of receiving signals from a much vaster field of information. He discovered what he called the neuronal field, an invisible network where all the information in the universe is permanently available. But here's the nuance that changes everything. You can't access that field whenever you want. It's only possible to tune into it when your internal state reaches a precise level of coherence. Greenberg used to say it was just like a radio. The waves are always there, but if the receiver is out of tune, all you hear is noise. According to his observations, most people live with their internal receiver completely out of tune, which is why they miss the most crucial messages of their existence. Jacobo spent years designing methods to tune that receiver. They weren't strange techniques or hidden rituals. They were simple exercises of sustained attention, non-judgmental observation, and real presence, and the results were astonishing. When someone practiced these dynamics for a few weeks, their ability to perceive synchronicities multiplied. People began to notice patterns where before they only saw chaos. They received precise information exactly when they needed it. They made decisions aligned with an intelligence deeper than conscious logic. The most surprising thing was that the external lives of those individuals began to reorganize in a way that seemed magical, although Greenberg insisted it was simply the natural consequence of operating from a higher level of consciousness. For years, Jacobo worked with shamans from indigenous communities in Mexico. At first, Jacobo observed them with the skepticism of a disciplined scientist, trying to find rational explanations for everything they did. But after months of study, he had to surrender to the evidence. Those shamans had access to information that was impossible to operate and obtain by conventional means. They knew things about people they had never seen. They anticipated events that hadn't happened yet. They perceived energies that their instruments couldn't measure. And what impressed Greenberg the most was what they explained to him: that this knowledge didn't come from the outside world, but from an expanded state of consciousness, where the boundary between observer and observed dissolves. They constantly repeated to him that the universe never stops speaking, but that you have to learn to listen with something much deeper than your ears. One day, one of those shamans looked at him intently and said something that Jacobo could never forget. He stated that he was looking for answers in the wrong place, that the science he practiced was useful but incomplete, that true knowledge is not obtained by measuring the brain from the outside, but by exploring consciousness from within. According to the shaman, each person receives exactly the messages they need at the moment they are ready, neither before nor after, and that ignoring them is, essentially, rejecting one's own destiny. Congratulations on making it this far. Most people would have already gotten distracted by a cat video. Although, let's admit it, kittens are also highly coherent beings. If you can still focus, comment with the phrase, "I choose to wake up." This helps me know who is truly committed to this journey. At that moment, Greenberg didn't fully understand the message. Years later, when his life took an unexpected turn and everything he considered stable began to fall apart, he remembered those words and finally understood their deeper meaning. Reality is not a rigid stage where you simply move through it like a passive spectator. Reality is a dynamic field that responds directly to your level of consciousness. When something changes inside you, the external world rearranges its pieces to show you exactly what you need to see at that moment. This is not superstition or empty spirituality. It's the result of years of rigorous research combined with personal experiences that shattered all my previous beliefs. The internal state you have now, the openness you feel while reading, the curiosity that keeps you here, all of that is temporary. Tomorrow you'll be busy with something else. Next week your thoughts will be different. The following month your priorities will have changed. And what seems urgent or significant to you today, in a few days might seem foreign or irrelevant. That's how the human mind works. It gets scattered, distracted, and forgets. That's why truly transformative messages only have a tiny window to get in. If you don't catch them at the exact moment they arrive, they disappear. Not because someone is guarding them from you, but because you yourself change frequency and can no longer tune into them. This explains why so many people feel like life passed them by. It's not that life is unfair or that destiny is cruel. It's that they live on autopilot with their awareness asleep, unable to recognize the signs that constantly appear before them. They walk through the world like sleepwalkers, repeating old patterns, the same conversations, the same habits, without noticing that the universe has been trying to speak to them for years. And when they finally wake up decades later, they ask themselves, where did all those years go? What opportunities vanished without them realizing it? What version of themselves never got to manifest? We have seen this countless times. Brilliant, sensitive people with impressive potential who spent their whole lives waiting for the right moment to make that crucial move, to follow that persistent intuition or to speak that truth that was burning inside them. And that perfect moment never comes because it doesn't exist. The right moment is when the message arrives. And if you delay it, if you postpone it, if you convince yourself that you'll deal with it later, that specific message with that particular intensity won't come back. Imagine you're walking down a street full of people. Hundreds of faces pass in front of you, but suddenly you spot someone familiar in the crowd. How is your brain able to detect that particular face? Because you had an internal pattern, an imprinted template that activates when it finds a match. The same thing happens with the messages that reality sends you. You only recognize those for which you already have an internal template. The others, often the most important ones, go unnoticed. And here comes what most people don't want to accept. Those templates are not fixed. You can modify them. You can expand your perception. You can learn to see what was previously imperceptible to you. But for that, you need to do something that almost no one dares to do. Question your own certainties. This leads me to something essential that I need you to understand. The most important messages in your life are not always pleasant. You won't always hear what you want from them. They sometimes reveal uncomfortable truths. They show you that you're on the wrong path. They force you to leave relationships, jobs, habits, or identities you thought were indispensable. And that's why many people, even when they receive a crucial message, choose to ignore it. They prefer familiar comfort over deep transformation. They prefer to stay asleep rather than face a truth that means changing. But there's something you can't overlook. When you reject an important message, it doesn't disappear. It comes back. It comes back amplified. It comes back as a crisis, a loss, or chaos. Not to punish you, but to wake you up. Because if you don't listen when life speaks to you in whispers, sooner or later, it will speak to you in shouts. And by that time, the price of ignoring the message will be much higher than the effort it would have taken to listen from the beginning. Believe me, the universe has a very powerful megaphone, and it's not afraid to use it at 3 a.m. when you finally decide to listen to the messages that reality sends you. When you accept that your consciousness is much broader than your physical brain. When you open yourself to dimensions of experience that conventional science denies, you are at a threshold. And on the other side, nothing is ever the same again. Not because the outside world suddenly changes, but because you change so deeply that the life you knew no longer fits. And this is where I need you to pay very close attention, because I'm going to reveal something that could change the way you live starting today. There was a technique that Jacobo Greenberg developed after many years of experimentation. He never published it in academic journals because he knew it would be ridiculed, misunderstood, or distorted. Even so, according to him, it was one of the most powerful methodologies he had discovered to cultivate awareness and recognize important messages before they faded away. It doesn't require special tools or sophisticated environments. The only thing it demands is discipline and radical honesty with yourself. The technique is simple but profoundly transformative. Every night before going to sleep, you mentally go through your entire day, not in a superficial way. You review it with your full attention, and you ask yourself, what moment today gave me a strange feeling? Which moment had a different spark? What fleeting thought appeared and disappeared before I could analyze it? What conversation was left open? What image stood out for no apparent reason? What phrase did you hear that seemed to carry a weight you couldn't explain? When you start doing this exercise, something extraordinary happens every night. Your brain starts to reorganize its priorities. Your attention starts to reconfigure. Your neural field becomes more sensitive, more perceptive, more attuned to the frequencies where subtle messages travel. After a few weeks of practice, you start to notice things in real time. You recognize synchronicities as they happen. You read hidden messages and conversations that used to seem trivial to you. You identify patterns where others only see noise. And most importantly, you start trusting your own expanded perception. The second step of the technique is just as essential. After identifying those meaningful moments, you should ask yourself what they were trying to show you. Don't look for convoluted interpretations or complicated explanations. True messages are simple and direct. If you felt uncomfortable in a conversation, maybe the message was that this person is not trustworthy. If you had a sudden urge to call someone, maybe that person needed your presence. If a seemingly random idea came up, it could be the solution to a problem you've been carrying for a while. Write down your interpretations, and the next day act accordingly, even if your rational mind tells you it's absurd, because this is the training. Learning to trust information that comes through unconventional means. But I need to warn you about something, and it's crucial that you understand it. Once you develop this ability, there's no turning back. You can't turn it off at will. You can't go back to comfortable ignorance. It's like waking up from a dream. You can't go back to sleep anymore. You'll start to see things others don't see. You'll perceive and feel what others believe to be true. You'll sense the energy behind superficial words. And yes, it can feel lonely. Because most people live from a completely different level of consciousness. They won't understand what you sense. They'll say you're exaggerating, too sensitive, or seeing things that aren't there. And maybe from their limited perspective, they're right. But you'll know that what you perceive is real. And you'll have to learn to trust that, even when everyone tells you otherwise. There's a moment on the path of awakening your consciousness that almost no one mentions, because it's uncomfortable, challenging, and breaks with everything you thought you knew about yourself. It's that moment when you start to realize that the thoughts that arise in your mind aren't just yours. I'm not saying that someone is putting ideas into your head. I mean that your mind becomes permeable to a broader field of information, and you start picking up things that don't come from your own life story, nor from your memories or your usual logic. This happens to everyone who truly raises their level of consciousness, but most people experience it in secret out of fear of being misunderstood. What you perceive in that state usually challenges your beliefs, your limits, and your identity. And if you don't have someone to guide you, it can be disconcerting. When your consciousness rises, you not only start receiving new information, but you also begin to clearly see things that were always there, but your mind automatically filtered out. It's like having a veil lifted from your eyes. Suddenly, certain people's behaviors stop being a mystery. You understand their intentions without them having to explain. You perceive lies disguised as kindness. You detect manipulations that are invisible to others, and at the same time, you find a depth in authentic people that you didn't know how to recognize before. This kind of advanced perception isn't magic. It's not telepathy or paranormal powers. It's simply expanded awareness. It's seeing reality without the filters that kept you asleep. But this awakening also brings consequences. Because when you start to see more, you start to see what you'd refuse to admit to yourself. Your shadow, your buried fears, the decisions you avoided, the opportunities you let slip by, the relationships you maintained out of habit, not out of truth. The places where you betrayed your intuition just to fit in. This part of the process is inevitable, and I want you to understand it with complete clarity. No true message arrives without dismantling a part of your false self. People believe that awakening means feeling enlightened, inspired, and uplifted all the time. But real awakening is raw, it's honest, it's uncomfortable because it forces you to look at yourself directly. It forces you to recognize that many of the decisions you made were automatic reactions, not conscious choices. It reveals to you the times when you acted out of fear and not out of truth. And it shows you with almost surgical precision the price you paid every time you ignored a message that life was sending you. Because only when your old identity falls can the true one be born. I'm going to tell you something that maybe no one else dared to tell you. Spiritual, psychological, or cognitive awakening, call it whatever you want, doesn't feel like an ascent at first. It feels like a fall. Because you have to let go of everything you thought you were. But after that, clarity comes, stability, depth, and silent certainty. Then you realize something that changes everything. The messages that reality sends you are not external warnings. They are reflections of your own internal process. And when you listen to them, you align yourself with your true path. When you ignore them, you move away from it. That's why you're here. Because you can no longer keep ignoring what your consciousness has been trying to show you for a long time. There's a moment in the development of your consciousness when everything starts to speed up. The signs become more frequent, the coincidences more precise, the intuitions clearer. And that doesn't mean the universe is speaking more, but that you're listening better. That point has been called the resonance zone. It's a state in which your internal coherence is so high that you start attracting exactly the information you need to move forward into your field. It's not magic. It's not superficial manifestation. It's not positive thinking. It's the physics of consciousness. When you enter the resonance zone, your decisions become more intuitive and less forced. Your actions flow without resistance. Life puts you in front of the right people. Obstacles stop feeling like threats and become instructions. And the mistakes that used to paralyze you now work as precise redirections. But I want you to understand something fundamental. No one remains in that state permanently. Not because it's fragile, but because your level of awareness fluctuates. There are days of absolute clarity and days of total confusion. Days when you perceive the messages clearly, and days when it seems like everything turns back into noise. Even those who've trained their perception for years experience this. I'm telling you honestly. If you're here, if you've reached this point in the message, it's because your consciousness is reaching a level where resonance is possible. Where what once seemed like chance starts to take shape. Where what once seemed like chaos begins to fall into place. Where what once confused you now begins to reveal itself. But being prepared is not enough. You have to take one more step. You have to choose to see, because every important message that life sends you requires an act of courage. The courage to face what makes you uncomfortable. The courage to accept that you know more than you admit. The courage to leave behind what no longer fits in your current awareness. When you reach this point on the path, there is an inevitable question that every human being must ask themselves. What part of me knows the truth? And what part of me is still resisting to hear it? Your answer to that question determines your future, determines your destiny, determines the quality of your next years of life. Because what comes next, and this is crucial, doesn't depend on the message you receive. It depends on what you do with that message. Before revealing the last part of this process to you, I want you to understand why you are here reading these words at this particular moment in your life. You're not reading this out of curiosity. You didn't come here for entertainment. You didn't stay until this point by chance. You came because you're one step away from the kind of understanding that transforms an entire destiny. Truly powerful information doesn't go mainstream. It finds those who need it, and only at the exact moment. And now it's finding you. Reality doesn't just send you messages, it sends you calls. A message is a warning. A call is an invitation. And when you get a call, it's telling you that it's time to change something big. Your direction, your identity, your habits, your relationships, your way of seeing the world, calls don't warn you twice. They appear when your level of consciousness comes into contact with a new possibility in your field. If you take it, your life expands. If you ignore it, that possibility closes and another version of yourself is lost. That's why I'm asking you a question that only you can answer. What is life calling you to do right now? Don't overthink it. Feel it. Your body knows it even before your mind does. It might be the call to leave a place that's no longer yours. The call to close a cycle you've been holding on to out of habit. The call to speak a truth you've been putting off. Or the call to become someone you still don't dare to be. Whatever it is, you've already felt it. You recognized it at some point in this text. You saw it between the lines. Or it grazed you like a premonition. And most importantly, only you can answer it. And now we've reached the end. Not of the text, but of this state of perception. Because what comes next depends on you. What you're feeling now, that mix of intuition, restlessness, certainty, and vertigo, is exactly what I felt before my own final awakening. It's the unmistakable sign that something inside you is ready, but only if you choose to respond. Remember this, a message informs you, a calling transforms you, and this is your calling. But the calling doesn't end here. To understand how this new awareness interacts with the hidden laws of reality, you need to watch the next video. It's the natural continuation of what you've just experienced and the next step in your evolution. Click now, and let's keep exploring what others don't dare to see.